All right, let's dive right in today. We're looking at something I'm sure we've all thought about at some point, those morning routines of crazy successful people you always hear about.
It's pretty interesting for sure.
Yeah.
We see all these accomplishments, but what you don't always see are the daily habits that might have played a part.
Yeah. And we've got some pretty interesting sources to go through. A Forbes article with 5 key habits, a personal experiment on Medium where this person actually tried these habits in their own life, and a whole top 10 list from a WeWork article.
Wow, a lot of different perspectives there.
For sure. And I'm all about figuring out what we can actually use from this. No one expects us to suddenly become like Oprah or Jeff Bezos, but if
Yeah.
we can pick up a couple of things to make our own mornings better, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
It's got to be about finding what works for you personally and then adapting it to your own life.
So let's start with this one that I found really interesting, ditching the alarm clock. I know in a world full of deadlines that sounds like a dream come true, but both Jeff Bezos and Oprah Winfrey, they actually swear by waking up naturally.
There's more to it than just luxury, though. Waking up to a super jarring alarm can actually trigger a rush of those stress hormones, cortisol and adrenaline.
Oh, so it's not just about feeling groggy, it's actually affecting your body.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Think about it. When your body gets flooded with those stress hormones first thing in the morning, it sets a certain tone for the whole day.
makes you wonder if hitting snooze a few times is making things worse.
It's definitely worth thinking about Ariana Huffington. She's big on waking up naturally after 8 full hours of sleep, which also happens to be what the National Sleep Foundation recommends for most adults.
Okay, let's be real here. How possible is ditching the alarm for you right now? Could you maybe shift your schedule a bit to make it happen, or are there smaller changes you could make to at least make waking up less jarring?
It's all about finding those little changes that work for you.
Okay, on to another habit that honestly surprised me, hydrating before coffee.
Interesting one, right? All the sources say make water your first drink even before you have any caffeine.
It seems so counterintuitive, but apparently there's a solid physiological reason behind it.
There is.
Yeah.
Think about it. After hours of sleep, you're already dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So when you drink water first thing, it helps get your digestion going, it boosts your metabolism, and it replenishes those fluids your body needs.
And Cameron Diaz is a huge fan of this. Apparently, she drinks a whole liter of water as soon as she wakes up.
While a liter might not be for everyone, the principle makes sense. Rehydrating before you have any stimulant sets you up much better internally.
I'm curious, do you already do this? And if not, is it something you would consider trying? What are your initial thoughts on it?
I think it's worth trying, for sure. It's not a huge change, and the potential benefits are significant.
Let's move on to something a bit more, shall we say, energetic, moving your body in the morning.
Yes. This is where you see a lot of variation in those celebrity routines, but the idea is always the same.
Right. We've got Gwyneth Paltrow with her super intense workouts, Bill Gates combining treadmill time with watching DVDs, and Equinox CEO Nikki Leandakis starting her day with yoga. It's all over the place.
The key takeaway is that physical and mental well-being are connected. Leondakis actually said, I've always known that you have to be physically healthy and strong to be mentally healthy and strong. It's all connected.
And it doesn't have to be crazy workouts,
No,
right?
not at all.
Yeah.
Even a short walk or just some stretching can make you feel better and give you more energy.
I was reading about the author of that Medium article. They were really struggling to get up at 4 a.m. to work out.
Wow, that's some serious dedication.
I know, right? But they ended up saying it gave them this amazing feeling of accomplishment and control over their day, even if it was hard at first.
It just goes to show that new habits take time and effort.
It makes you think what type of movement really gets you going. Not what you think should, but what actually does.
That's the question you got to ask yourself.
Yeah.
It's about finding something that feels good, not just checking a box.
Okay, so this next one might sound a bit strange, prepping for a successful morning the night before.
Ah, yes, the power of evening prep.
It's like getting ready to win before you even go to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. It's about taking a little time in the evening to make your morning smoother so you can focus on what's important.
Both Kenneth Chenault, the former CEO of American Express, and Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, they're big on making to-do lists the night before.
Right. The idea is to put your tasks in order and get organized. That way you're not scrambling in the morning trying to figure out what needs to get done.
No more decision fatigue before you even have your coffee. The author of the Medium article said that focusing on just 3 to 5 key tasks that connect with their bigger goals made a huge difference for them.
It's about being intentional, not just going through the motions.
And speaking of intentionality, let's talk about a habit that's got some real weight to it, the Steve Jobs question.
That one dives deep into self-reflection and figuring out what your purpose is.
Steve Jobs, he was famous for starting each day by looking in the mirror and asking himself, if today was the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today?
Man, that's a question that really makes you stop and think.
It really puts things into perspective. It's like checking if your actions line up with your values and what actually matters to you.
And if you're saying no to yourself for too many days in a row, that might be a sign that something needs to change.
The Medium article talked about that too, recognizing when you're just on autopilot and might need to switch things up. So here's a question for you to think about. What's your honest answer to the Steve Jobs question today?
Yeah, it really gets you thinking. Moving past those core habits, the WeWork article has some other interesting ones.
It's amazing how different these routines can be, even for people who are super successful. A few things really jumped out at me, especially the themes of rituals, mindfulness, and like personal growth stuff.
Yeah, those are definitely big ones.
Yeah.
What were you thinking of specifically?
Well, for one, the idea of rituals. Like Twyla Tharp, the choreographer, her morning ritual is taking a cab to the gym every day. Or Marie Kondo, she opens her windows and burns incense each morning. It's not really about what they're doing, but the feeling of intention they bring to it.
I see what you mean. Rituals can be a powerful way to start the day and set a positive tone. They give you structure and purpose.
And then there's the whole thing about meditation. It seems like everyone from Jen Rubio and Ariana Huffington to Jack Dorsey, they all do some kind of mindfulness practice in the mornings.
And for good reason. The benefits are pretty clear. Less stress, more self-awareness, better focus, and a sense of calm. It's like a mental workout.
And speaking of workouts, Bill Gates and Barack Obama, they're both big readers. They really emphasize how important learning new things is. It made me think about how we can work personal growth into our mornings.
Reading can be such a great way to learn, gain new perspectives, and even de-stress. There's this study from the University of Sussex that found just 6 minutes of reading can lower stress levels by almost 70%.
Wow, that's wild. I'm definitely going to try reading more in the mornings. What about journaling? Apparently, Warren Buffett, Richard Branson, and you guessed it, Ariana Huffington, again, they all swear by it.
Journaling has so many benefits. It helps you process your thoughts and feelings, reduces stress and anxiety, and there's even research saying it can help you do better at work.
Feels like there's a habit for everyone out there.
Right. And that's the key takeaway here. You've got to choose habits that work for you and that support your goals. Like Josh LaJaughany said, having a routine is great, but only if it serves your goals. Otherwise, it's called a rut.
So it's not about copying someone else's routine, but about creating one that helps you be the best version of yourself.
Exactly. And it's not about trying to be someone else either. It's about using these ideas as inspiration to make a morning routine that helps you become the best version of yourself.
I love that. It's not about finding the perfect morning routine, but about finding what works for you and makes you feel good.
Yeah, for sure. And that might mean trying new things and changing things up as you go along.
Yeah.
Life changes, and so should our routines.
Speaking of trying new things, I think it would be good to go back to some of the habits we talked about and see how we can use them in our own lives. What do you think?
I agree. It's all about taking these inspiring examples and making them practical. So let's start with ditching the alarm clock. I know waking up naturally isn't possible for everyone right now, but maybe there are smaller things you can do to make your mornings less jarring.
Yeah, like going to bed earlier to get more sleep. Even 15 minutes can help. Or trying a softer alarm sound like nature sounds instead of a loud buzzer.
Those are good ideas.
Yeah.
It's all about those little changes that can make you feel better. Now, what about hydrating first thing in the morning? How could you fit that into your routine?
Well, even if you don't want to chug a whole liter of water like Cameron Diaz, maybe just keep a glass of water by your bed and sip on it when you wake up.
Those small, consistent changes make all the difference. It's about making it easy and enjoyable for yourself.
Hmm.
When it comes to movement, I'm curious, what do you like the most? We talked about yoga treadmill workouts and even just going for a walk.
For me, it's about finding a balance between things that give me energy and things that help me relax. So maybe some days it's a quick HIIT workout to get my heart rate up, and other days it's some yoga or a walk in nature to clear my head.
I love that. It's about listening to your body and doing what feels right in that moment.
Yeah.
You don't need the same type of movement every day. So what about prepping the night before? Was there anything that stood out to you?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Kenneth Chenault's habit of writing down 3 things he wants to do the next day. It seems really simple but effective. I'm thinking of trying that myself.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Even just taking a couple minutes to figure out your priorities for the next day can help you feel more focused and ready to go. You wake up with a plan. What about the Steve Jobs question? What are your thoughts on that one?
Honestly, I'm a little torn about it. On one hand, I think it's powerful to check in with yourself and make sure you're living according to your values. But on the other hand, it can be kind of scary to think about life and death every morning.
I get it. It's a really big question, and it might not be right for everyone or for every day. Maybe it's not something to ask yourself daily, but more like something to think about when you feel stuck or uninspired. It's a good tool for reflecting and making changes.
That makes sense. It's about using the question as a tool, not letting it make you feel pressured or anxious.
Exactly.
Mm.
It's about finding what empowers you. As we wrap up our deep dive into morning routines, I'm struck by how different everyone's routine is, even among really successful people.
Totally. There's no one right way. What works for someone else might not work for you, and that's okay.
It's about finding what works for you for your life and your goals.
Right. It's all about experimenting, figuring out what you like, and being willing to change things up as you go.
And maybe even more important is remembering that a morning routine is just one part of the puzzle. It's not going to magically make you successful or happy.
Exactly. It's like building a foundation for a good day, but it's up to us to use that foundation and make the most of what comes our way.
Well said. Let's move on to some final thoughts that might give our listeners something to think about.
Sounds good. What are you thinking?
Well, we've talked about how important it is to find habits that work for you, but I want to take that a step further.
Mm.
What if we changed our mindset too?
Oh, I like where this is going.
What if instead of focusing on what we should be doing, we focused on what really makes us happy and gives us energy in the morning?
That's such a cool way to think about it. It's like switching from morning routine as a chore to morning routine as self-care.
Exactly. It's about making your morning experience something that sets you up, not just to be productive, but to feel good overall.
So let's say you're ready for that mindset change. Where would you even start?
I think you should start by just paying attention. Notice how you feel during different parts of your morning. What things make you feel energized and inspired, and what things make you feel drained and stressed.
That's a great place to start. Just being aware of those little changes in your energy can tell you a lot.
It really can. And once you know what works for you and what doesn't, you can start trying different habits and routines.
And don't forget it's a process. It doesn't have to be perfect right away. It's all about being curious, trying new things, and making adjustments along the way.
I couldn't agree more. Now, for one last thought to leave you with, we talked about matching your morning routine to your goals, but I want to challenge you to think even bigger. What if you focused on your values too?
Oh, wow. That's a deep thought.
Think about the qualities you want to have in your life. Kindness, creativity, courage, compassion. How can your morning routine support those things? How can it help you become the person you want to be, not just in terms of what you achieve, but who you are as a person?
That really hits home. It's like taking the whole idea of a morning routine to a whole new level.
It is. It's about realizing that our mornings aren't just about getting things done. They're about becoming who we want to be.
I love that. What an amazing and inspiring way to think about the start of our day.
So as you go about your day, think about this. How can you create a morning routine that feels like a gift to yourself?
That's definitely something to think about. And remember, even the smallest step towards being intentional can make a big difference.
Well said. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep designing a life you love one morning at a time.
Yeah, that's such a cool way to think about it. It's like switching from morning routine as a chore to morning routine as self-care.
Exactly. It's about making your morning experience something that sets you up not just to be productive, but to feel good overall.
So let's say you're ready for that mindset change. Where would you even start?
I think you should start by just paying attention. Notice how you feel during different parts of your morning. What things make you feel energized and inspired, and what things make you feel drained and stressed.
That's a great place to start. Just being aware of those little changes in your energy can tell you a lot.
It really can.
Mm.
And once you know what works for you and what doesn't, you can start trying different habits and routines.
And don't forget, it's a process. It doesn't have to be perfect right away. It's all about being curious, trying new things, and making adjustments along the way.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Now, for one last thought to leave you with, we talked about matching your morning routine to your goals, but I want to challenge you to think even bigger. What if you focused on your values too?
Oh, wow. That's a deep thought.
Think about the qualities you want to have in your life. Kindness, creativity, courage, compassion. How can your morning routine support those things? How can it help you become the person you want to be, not just in terms of what you achieve, but who you are as a person?
That really hits home. It's like taking the whole idea of a morning routine to a whole new level.
It is. It's about realizing that our mornings aren't just about getting things done. They're about becoming who we want to be.
I love that. What an amazing and inspiring way to think about the start of our day.
So as you go about your day, think about this. How can you create a morning routine that feels like a gift to yourself?
That's definitely something to think about. And remember, even the smallest step towards being intentional can make a big difference.
Well said. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep designing a life you love one morning at a time.